Hey, what is up, YouTube? Kolst here. We are back with the, I don't know what number this is, 6th or 7th review for Festival of Legends. This time is Priest. We're going class by class, so say hello to YouTube people in Twitch chat. But anyway, let's get right into it, because the first one here is Fan Club. I should probably mention, by the way, that if you're not familiar, let's just find one that has this effect. A lot of this is built around the new mechanic that Priest has, which is Overheal. This is a bonus that you get if you restore past full health. So I feel like I should probably apply that context before we even start talking about these cards, because that's the point of a lot of these, like this card. Because this is Fan Club. 1 mana location with 2 charges, restore 3 health to all friendly characters. It's not quite as good as Circle Healing was, but you get 2 of them. You can't use it on consecutive turns, but like you get to trigger it whenever you want with this. You just have to spend 1 mana initially, and then you get it twice. This is probably fine. I mean, you'll be able to use this whenever you get any value trade, so you're getting some value there. Probably not enough that you would really want to use a card in your deck to actually pick this in Arena. But the whole point of this would really be to actually trigger Overheal effects, because that would make this a whole lot better. If you can value trade and then also trigger an Overheal simultaneously, that's when this gets really, really strong. So I think this would be pretty good, but it's going to be, you know, a little bit reliant on the synergy. But since there is going to be a lot of Overheal cards, you'll probably be able to get it to work a little bit. So I think that makes it pretty solid. Next up, we have Idol's Adoration. This is the weapon. Every class, by the way, is getting a weapon. So this is the one for Priest. 1 mana 0/2 weapon, your hero power costs 0. After you use it, lose 1 durability. So this is very much, I mean, very similar to this. This honestly just seems like a much worse version of this though, right? Like, okay, you get to hero power, but like with this, you get to restore 3 to halt friendlies. With this, you get to, it uses up your hero power and you get to heal 2, or to 1 ally, I mean. It just seems like a much worse version of this. Which again, you would do it just to trigger your Inspire synergy, exactly. But really, I mean, it's like a much worse version of this. Like, it's not terrible, and especially if you have Overheal, it's okay. It's just a much worse version of this, and if you really had a whole bunch of Overheal, maybe, but a lot of times, you know, it's not enough for a card, so. Oh, that is true. You can actually use it with Shadow Form, though. But yeah, that's probably what you would actually use it for, right, is Shadow Form. Yeah. Next up is Dreamboat. This is a 2 mana 1/2 Naga. With Battle Cry, restore 3 health to all of your friendly minions, so his only minions does not heal your face, and gain +1/+1 for each one overhealed. So it's not really a 2-drop. I mean, I guess if you have a 1-drop, and then you could just potentially bump with it, and then also heal it up, and then play this as a 2-drop. If you have a 1-drop, you can use it as a 2. But a lot of times, it's a 2 that you can't really play, and again, Overheal synergy, so if you have that kind of stuff, it might be useful, but a lot of times it's probably not going to be super worth it. But, you know, I mean, as long as you can just, if you can just heal up 1 minion, it's a little weird, because if you are actually, like, let's just say you bump your Yeti into something, into a 3/4, you heal, but you don't actually overheal, so you get the healing, but it's only a 1/2. I feel like it's just not really quite worth it a lot of the time, unless again you're really banking on that Overheal being really valuable. A lot of times it's just going to be not great. Maybe fine, but just not great. Next up, we have Power Chord Synchronize. 2 mana holy spell. Choose a minion, add a copy of it to your hand. That is literally Seance's text, I believe. And then, but it also has Finale. Give both +1/+2. So this is pretty nice. I mean, it's basically just a better version of Seance. Seance was kind of an underrated Priest card, because there were so many things you could do with it. You can steal your opponent's minion, essentially, get to play it. You can hit a Colossal, for example, right? And you get the whole Colossal. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty nice in the sense that, you know, you have the choice on this Finale. Obviously, if you're buffing your own, if you're hitting your own minion, you would always want to Finale to get the buff. And so sometimes it might be awkward that you're not able to. However, if you're using this on your opponent's minion, which you can do, you might not want to buff their minion, and then you would never have to be forced to do it. You would always have the ability to not buff it by just using this at the beginning of your turn rather than the end of your turn. So overall, I mean, this is a very useful card, I think. You can use it as a buff, you can use it to steal a minion, you can use it to just copy your own minion. Just very solid. And sometimes you might choose to copy your minion without the buff, so you can play it immediately. It's a very interesting card. It seems very powerful. It's very priesty. I think it's really good. I think it's a very good card. And it's a common, you'll see it everywhere. Next up, you have Heartthrob. 3 mana, 2/5 undead with overheal. This is the first overheal here. Summon a random minion with the cost equal to the amount overhealed. So this would be one of those things. You get the fan club on turn 1. You maybe play this with like the other thing, and then you have the threat of potentially doing this repeatedly, and then just keep getting more stats. You can play this as a 5. You can play this on curve, and then it's a big threat for your opponent that they probably need to deal with. You play this on turn 5, you could just hero power it immediately, and you also just get a 2/2, which is not great, but I mean, it's something, right? It's better than doing literally nothing, so it just seems like a pretty solid card. I wish it wasn't epic. Yeah, it's just, I feel like if this was everywhere, you might it might be frustrating, though. Let's move on. So the next card we have here is Love Everlasting. 3 mana, Holy Spell, Legendary. Your first spell each turn costs 2 less. Lasts until you don't play a spell on your turn. Well, you have to play 3 mana, do nothing for this. This is a legendary, so you're just not going to see it very much, but like, you have to spend 3 mana, do nothing to turn this on, and then at that point, you start getting mana cheat. But then, as a priest, you do tend to have a lot of spells, so you can actually theoretically do this. It's just weird because they're set up, and I mean, what are you really trying to do with this? Right? That is cool, actually. Yeah, you could combo it with Spawn, I guess. That's pretty nice. Then you always get the 1 mana Discover, and then you always keep it forever. That's pretty nice. You know, a lot of times you're just not gonna have enough spells. It's a little bit weird. So, and it doesn't actually do anything, so you'll probably have better options in the legendary slot most of the time. Next up, we have Shadow Chord Distort. This is a 3 mana shadow spell. Give a minion -5/-5. If it has 0 attack, destroy it. So, I don't know why it is that, like, remember how priests used to not be able to deal with 4 attack minions? Now it just, this thing just always kills anything. So, I mean, you can kill anything with 5 or less attack, right, with this, but you can also kill anything with 5 or less health. I think the way that this works out a lot of the time, it's weird that it can actually kill 3 and 4 attack, or 4 and 5 attack minions, but a lot of the times you're basically just using this as like a shadow strike. You're basically just dealing 5 damage with this card, right? It's always going to be good. I mean, anytime there's any significant threat, you can deal with it, right? You don't have really any conditionality on that, right? It's one of those cards where it's like, it's probably not great and constructed, but in Arena, like, yeah, it's one of these things. I don't know, would you actually take this over an Assassinate? I'm not sure if this is better than Assassinate or not. It's, in any case, I mean, it's definitely fine. Like, you'd be pretty happy to draft this, I think. Just probably not the most insane thing, but use this on an 8/8 if you could have shadowed it, but at least you turn it into a 3/3 and neutralizes the threat a lot. Next up, we have Fight Over Me. Oh dear, this card. 4 mana shadow spell. Choose 2 enemy minions. They fight! Add copies of any that die to your hand. This is going to be a very triggering thing to have to like think about constantly. Because yeah, if your opponent just happens to have 2 minions that are equal sized, then you kill them both. You choose both the minions. It's not random. You just get to choose it. And I mean, anytime they have 2 minions, you just wouldn't use this unless it works. But a lot of times, maybe you just have one kill the other one, and then you will get the smaller one. But the ideal would be that they both kill each other, and then you get both. And then it's just basically 2 shower deaths, although it works on potentially whatever size they are, and then you also just get all those cards added to your hand. Very, very powerful potentially, right? Just a little bit weird because it just won't always work out, but yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where you're always gonna, because it's an epic, you just won't think about it too much, but it's gonna be one of those things that just kecks you every now and then. You cannot use it on your Scorpid though. This is choose 2 enemy minions, so you can't just play it with a poison. If your opponent has a poison though, that's what you want, right? Your opponent plays Scorpid. Finally, a Venomous Scorpid hate card, although Venomous Scorpid is leaving the game, right? So that actually can. It's leaving standard at least. Maybe it'll still be in Arena, we'll see. But yeah, if your opponent ever plays poison. Next up, we have Heartbreaker Hedanis. 4 mana, 4/8, legendary battle cry. Deal 4 damage to this minion. Overheal. Deal 5 damage to a random enemy. So again, this is one of those cards where you're hoping that you can, potentially with this guy, you could overheal it multiple times and just start completely devastating your opponent. It's just it's a little hard to think that you could really get this to work super well, because you have to deal 4 before you can actually start overhealing it, and you need multiple overheals to really get the value. I mean, obviously once you do it once, it's already pretty good, but it requires you to get there. Like, you play this on 6, you hear a pirate, and then a fan club or any other 3 healing starts the overhealing. So you have the potential there, but it feels like it's just a little bit, it's a little combo reliant, right? You're not just going to take this and if you just play this without any synergy, it's never really going to realistically do anything. You know, if you have some of the combos, potentially it could do well. It's in the legendary slot, so you might have better choices a lot of the time. Next up, we have Harmonic Pop, or the last card here for Priest. A pretty insane board clear. This is 6 mana Holy Spell, deal 3 damage to all minions, summon a 6/6 Pop Star. That's its harmonic form. The dissonant form, this is one of those cards that swaps each turn. The dissonance form is deal 6 to all minions, and then summon a 3/3 Pop Star. Either of these forms are insanely good, right? Let's be honest. A 6/6 that, as long as you want to do a 2-side board clear, which you often do as Priest, yeah, get a 6/6 and a board clear for 6 mana. Yeah, it's a 6 mana Abyssal Enforcer straight up, right? Pretty darn good. Doesn't hit you in the face form. And the other form is 6 mana deal 6 to all minions, which, I mean, you know, 6 mana deal 5 to all minions was typically a pretty good card. Yeah, this is more. And then you just also get a 3/3. So either of them are just, both forms are just really good. The one awkward thing is, again, that you won't always have the exact form you want when you want to play it. So that makes it a little bit awkward. However, this thing just is so overstated. It just does so much and gives you way more than you should get for a single card, essentially, that, yeah, you're going to pick this probably every time, and you're just gonna be annoyed when it doesn't line up exactly. But yeah, it's very good. It is a 2-side board clear again, so keep that in mind, but you're gonna be pretty happy to have this, especially unless you're like a super, even if you're a super aggro priest. I mean, you can still use an Abyssal Enforcer, right? So yeah, it's very solid. But that is it for Priest. Let me know what you guys think about these cards. They're on YouTube. But thanks a lot again. Like, subscribe, all these things. Bye. We'll see you guys in the next one.